And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another installment of the Squad Tip series. If you're new to the channel, drop a like on this video, man. Comment down below, subscribe. I do these once a week in addition to the other daily 2K21 stuff that I do. So, if you guys are not familiar with the series, I take your squads that you comment in my community post or on Twitter, etc., and I give helpful tips. So, first things first, we'll start off with my man, Fortnite Tony, his squad. Now, look, my man has a GOAT squad right off the bat, but there are some helpful tips. Right off the bat, so you're running Nick Nurse, you like to run taller point guards. Okay, so these are the intangible things I like to know before I give squad tips. Just knowing you like to run taller point guards is super helpful, so I do appreciate you commenting that. You have a pretty solid amount of MTU of 1.4 million. Okay, yeah, you're doing just fine. You're on current gen, you mostly run 5 out and then pick and pop. Okay, so right off the bat, I would say it depends on how you feel about Jordan. One thing I would say is it probably wouldn't be a terrible idea with the amount of MT you have, and Michael Jordan being worth 300 to 400k himself, to swap him out for McGrady. Now, the reason for that really comes down to longevity. Like, either way, I kind of don't recommend doing that. I do recommend getting rid of Jordan before his price plummets, but if you really wanted a true upgrade, I would say Jordan for McGrady. It'll cost you an extra 150,000 MT to do that, but McGrady will just have more longevity than Jordan will. If you remember last year, the 97 Pink Diamond Tmac was still basically usable until, honestly, almost the end of the game. The leap year Tmac was still usable until like June. The Pink Diamond was still just fine until like May. So you'll get a lot more longevity out of this Tracy McGrady. It'll end up being a lot better, but that's just a personal thing, and it really just depends how you feel about Trey Burke base. And if you're a big Jordan fan, just keep Jordan. It's not that big of a deal. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler's good, but it depends how you feel about him. Like, if you're not really that big of a Jimmy Butler fan, / you're not playing really, really well with this card, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to sell him, get your 200k, and just swap him out with someone who's cheaper, like a Danny Granger, that'll do essentially the same thing, have a big frame, play defense, and shoot threes at a high level. As far as Andre Karolinko, you might as well just ride with Andre Karolinko for now. He's still incredibly usable, and there's just no point to swap him out for anyone that's available, just because it's not worth the MT upgrade, when AK is just totally fine on its own. Now, another thing you could do is you could go grind for Marion. He's touch and go, though. He's one of those cards that some people are going to love, some people are going to hate, so it's hard to really tell if he's going to be a good fit for your squad. But one thing I would recommend would just be to sell Jimmy Butler before his price drops, because he's going for about 200k. You can pick up Danny Granger for around 50, 60k when the super packs come out. That's a nice 150k upgrade, and Danny Granger's not going to hurt your team very much. He matches up well with Magic Johnson, plays into the theme of keeping your lineup large. As far as Magic Johnson goes, you have him badged up. Just keep using him. You like big point guards. There's not very many point guards better than Magic Johnson as far as right now at this stage. Like, yeah, you could go get Ben Simmons, but I don't think it's entirely worth it. So I think your team's just fine the way it is, and we're right around the corner from Season 5, so there's really no point to make any drastic moves right now. Next up, we got my man, Scott Quail. Is that Quail, or is that Quail? I don't know, man. Opal Wade, Terry, okay, good. Marion, alright, you got a nice 3-pronged head reward roster here. Jameson, okay, I like what's going on here. And Wayne Embry. Alright, so right off the bat, I like the starting lineup, but okay, so we got Baron Davis, Rudy Fernandez, okay, Granger, yeah, I like Granger, you guys know I like Granger. Karolinko and Caleb, okay. So, I'm not going to ever tell you guys to get rid of any of the free cards, because they're free, guys. So, Caleb's actually, he's fine anyway, as it is. Wayne Embry actually makes the most sense in the starting lineup over Kevin Love, just because what you need in the starting lineup is a little bit more interior presence. Wayne Embry is only 6'8", but he does rebound really well and play good defense. He's fast enough to keep up with like your Dinos and stuff like that. Personally, so you're on current gen, you use Frank Vogel, you have 230k in the bank. You're about to have Marion. I think that's a good move. I mean, when you get Marion, I think it'd be a good call to take Danny Granger, throw him at the shooting guard position, run Marion right here. And then I wouldn't get rid of Rudy Fernandez, and the reason for that is you don't know how you're going to like Sean Marion yet. So it's hard to really tell until you start playing with him. Like I said, Sean Marion's a divisive card. Some people really like his jump shot. I will say he gets blocked pretty often, but he's still not a bad card by any means. So you want to play around with Marion and see if he fits your playstyle. Even cards that are generally regarded as, you know, air quotes, meta, and some of the best cards in the game will not be good for you. Like, Giannis is obviously one of the best power forwards in this game. He's not good for me. So that's why I don't typically recommend Giannis as a card, because I'm not really that good with Giannis. Sean Marion could be the same thing. Yes, he's a very good 3-and-D card, but his jump shot's a little weird. Might not be great for you. So, as far as the rest of your squad, honestly, I would just hold off on it. You got a really nice mixture of reward cards and just a couple of buyable cards. I would just let them rock. I wouldn't use any of your MT and just kind of wait for Season 5 and go from there. You'll notice I haven't told anyone to go get Smush Parker yet, and it's because as much as I like Tracy McGrady base, like Smush Parker is not like a god tier card. He's just a very good Ruby. And honestly, yeah. So, let's see, what do we got? Shout out to my man, Leonardo. So you got Bongo with gold range, okay. Jack Marin, alright, solid. I still don't have him, which is really annoying, but, you know. I got Terry Dissinger, I guess it's fine. AK, a lot of AK going on this episode, huh? Kevin Love, and you did badge him up with gold clamps, okay. Interesting. Backups, yep, there he is. I knew he was coming at some point. Smush Parker, but you have Mevod. Eva Wally. Yeah, you know I like Eva Wally, so. Brian Scalabrine, yup. Bobby Jones for defense. Yeah, I like Bobby Jones a lot. And Wayne Embry. Okay. So right off the bat, you have about 330 MT, or 330K, I should say. You shoot threes. Your coach is Ruby Vogel. You like to 3-hunt, run 5 out. Okay. Right off the bat, I wouldn't make any moves on this squad. I mean, personally. I know I'm supposed to be giving squad tips, but realistically, I mean, I'm sure you've tried, but, you know, go try to get Terry Dissinger. You have Wally Zerbiak. If you can, go get Sean Marion. Sean Marion's a pretty good card. Like I said, he might not fit your overall arc of your team. Still worth it to go try to get that card just to see if you like him. You never know. As far as, like, making moves, I mean, if Bonga and Smush Parker work for you, then, you know, keep rocking them. They're not for everyone. I've seen a lot of people say that they're, like, you know, better than X Pink Diamond, better than Diamonds. That's so subjective. It's really hard to say. But, I mean, if these two guys, if you don't miss shots with them, if they play really well for your team, then there's no point in replacing them. Smush Parker's good. I mean, my favorite jump shot is Trey Burke base. It's the easiest to green for me. I know that's not universally true. But if you're the same way, then yeah, someone like Smush Parker is going to work really well for you, so it's probably a good idea to just continue to use him. Yeah, I wouldn't make any major moves to your squad, or really any moves until Friday, Season 5. Kind of see what's going on with the exchange, the token rewards, new TT offline, maybe new domination rewards, spotlights. You know, we'll kind of go from there, but we don't know what kind of cards we're going to be seeing on Friday for the beginning of Season 5. So you'd be best off just kind of keeping with the squad that you have. Andrei Kirilenko is still more than usable, especially if he's badged up, so still an excellent 3-and-D card, and he can handle the rock a little bit, and he's got a good player build, so there's no point in really switching him out. You got gold clamps on Kevin Love. He does well enough on his own, but you got gold clamps, so I would just rock this squad and then go from there. If you do have any other opals or pink diamonds, not a bad idea to sell them right now just to get the most MT you possibly can for it. But if this is your main squad and the squad that works for you, I don't think there should really be any question as to continuing to use this squad. Now, if you wanted like tips on who you should probably replace first, Wayne Embry's starting to kind of fizzle out a little bit, but people that are really good with him are still really good with him. So if you're one of those people, continue to use him until you can't. Now, if you're not like a huge fan of Wayne Embry anymore and you're like getting tired of him, then that's kind of a different scenario. Depending on, you shoot a lot of threes and like to run 5 out, but I really got to start asking for more information. But I'm going to end up getting like 6 paragraphs from people. It's just hard to give out squad tips without crazy amounts of information, like what jump shot bases you typically like and stuff like that. So I'm going to start asking people who their favorite cards were this year and going from there. But like someone I would recommend there instead of Wayne Embry would be like Yi. Yeah, I like Yi a lot, but that's a subjective pick as well. Same with Dino Raja, another subjective pick. Yeah, I mean, Wayne Embry's good, but you could find better options. Chris Boucher would be a really good option as well. He actually plays very similarly to Wayne Embry, but he can shoot a little bit better. And so when super packs come out, if you see Chris Boucher going for a pretty low price and you're not feeling Wayne Embry anymore, that's another good person to pick up. He's got goal range extender, great defensive badges. He moves pretty well. I don't know. It just depends. Like I said, if Wayne Embry works for you still, keep him. If not, shell him out. Wally's the man. He's free, so no reason to replace him. Same with Jack Marion. Same with Jameson. Same with K-Love, especially if you got clamps on him. Bonga and Smush Parker, like I said, if they work well for you, no point in replacing them. Scalabrini's a sniper. If you need a little bit more versatility, you could work and pick somebody else up, but I would just wait till Season 5. Same with Andre Karolinko. All right, so we got through a few teams already. Let's go through my man I-Complex. You're running Dwayne Wade. All right. Excellent free card. Oh, man, I didn't realize you picked an absolute god squad over here. Tracy McGrady, Kawhi. Yeah, you got a god squad. Jameson. Oh, you have no center. Okay. Yeah, you did need my help. I was like, why did I pick this team? Okay, cool. You got Terry. Always a nice guy to have. Jack Marion. Oh, you're grinding. Okay. And then you don't have a bench power forward or a bench center. Okay. So let's see. I need a starting center, backup center, and backup power forward. I have 365 KMT, and I like to run 5 out Hawks 2018 or 2018 delay. Okay, cool. Now, this is a solid squad. You have 300K. Obviously, I do not recommend getting rid of Tmac. Just because, like I said in the, in previous videos for a previous team, he's going to have the most longevity out of any of the opals that we have right now. Him and Kawhi, I think, will have the most longevity out of any of them. And that really comes down to just jump shot base and player build. Like, Trey Burke base is a universally good release. So he's going to be usable for a long period of time. And, like, Kawhi has great defensive animations. So he'll be usable for a while. Lonzo's not going for enough of a price to recommend selling him and cashing out right now. He's going for about 90K. He's a really good point guard. I think he'll be usable for a long period of time, too. And I don't think his price really is going to decrease by that much. So, all right. So you have 365 KMT. All right. So it's kind of tough. Like, yes, there's the person in me that's like, grab Dino, but it's not universal that you're going to like Dino. It's just not. As much as I love that card, like, my play style, I like Dino. Some people do not like Dino. He's not a universal card. Same with Yi. Yi's also not a universal card, but those are two guys that you could try out if you wanted, and if you don't like them, you can just sell them right afterwards. You will take a little MT hit, but it is an option. Since you seem to be liking the grinding for Sean Marion's probably not a terrible idea. Like I said, you might not like him, but he is another pretty elite free card. Something that might work out pretty well for you. He's a little small playing power forward, but at the same time, it can be done. You'll just be running kind of a small ball lineup, so you'll have to basically run like a monster in the middle. But it really just depends on your playstyle. I do see that you run 5 out, and you like Hawks 2018 and 21 delay. So I'm guessing you're shoot first, maybe rim run first. Based on your team, it's kind of hard to tell because the guys you have kind of do everything, except for Jameson, who's more of a sniper. So it's really tough to give a recommendation. Like, yeah, obviously I would say Dino Raja, just because I love Dino, and Yi. If you do like to run rim, He is really good. Chris Boucher is really, really good. Actually, to be honest, I think he might actually work really well for you. I'd obviously wait till the super packs come out, but Chris Boucher is a defensive stopper. He also has enough speed to run the kind of offense that you're running. So he's something to definitely think about, especially if he gets down to that 30 or 40K price tag. You can pick him up for the cheap. And then, yeah, obviously you could run like a, Yi. But like I said, that one's really, really subjective. He doesn't have clamps or range, which is not the end of the world, but at the same time, it is important to take into consideration. You do get that free Kevin Love too with that locker code. Might not be a terrible idea just to run that free Kevin Love off the bench, even if it's not at center, just off a power forward, just for the time being anyway, because he's a free card. He's a good shooter. He's not going to like hurt your team. He might not be the best card for you, but at the same time, he's a free pink diamond that has some pretty good badges. Not a terrible card to run with, just temporarily until Season 5 starts up. So, but Chris Boucher is someone I definitely recommend. And then as like some prospective guys, like Yi is really, really good, but he's not for everyone. Same with Dino. Obviously, he's good, but not for everyone. If you wanted someone that's going to clog up the middle and play defense, honestly, depends. I don't think, if you're a post player, like, this is probably the best guy I could recommend right now would be like Dwight Howard, because he's relatively cheap. But just looking at your team, I can't tell if you're really a post player. You look like more of a standard 5-out kind of guy. Nothing wrong with it, I'm just saying. So having someone that can handle the ball a little bit, honestly, if he gets down in price, dude, Bob McAdoo might not be a terrible option either. Like, he's got the speed and the defense to really hold it down, and you got enough shooting right here with Lonzo, Terry, Jack Marin, and K-Love, that having like a third or even fourth ball handler that, yes, granted, he cannot shoot threes at a high clip. He still cracks mid-ranges, has speed, ball handling, and plays defense. So, but like I said, he'd have to get down to Chris Boucher levels of price, you know? But Chris Boucher is a really good stopgap option until we start getting some new cards next season that you can use. Honestly, running just another free guy and like Sabonis isn't even a terrible idea. Just because he's good enough to compete and you don't have to spend 100K. So having him, not a bad option. He lacks clamps, but like I said, not the end of the world. You could always switch that up and run like Sabonis at the starting lineup. Chris Boucher makes sense for this starting lineup, though. He provides defense and shooting. So, like I said, it really just depends on personal preference, play style, and what kind of jump shot bases you're really good with. Because it's hard to tell you. Everyone's different. You know, my team is about picking up some of your favorite players and having fun and using them, and even less than have your favorite players is using your favorite jump shots and jump shots you can green on a consistent basis. So it's hard to suggest cards based on that, but I hope this helped in some way, shape, or form. Next up, we got my man Max Barr. Yes, I knew it wouldn't be too long until I saw this guy again. Smush Parker. Like I said, if you are a fan of Tracy McGrady base, Smush Parker is great. Rudy Fernandez. You got an Evoed Kyle Anderson. Nice. Okay. Jameson. You know I like Jameson. And, oh yeah, you got Yi. Okay, you got Yi with badges. Oh, nice. Okay, Oscar Robertson. Bench is nice. Ruby Kobe. Okay. I mean, Ruby Kobe's still solid. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Bonga. You're running Bonga at small forward. Nice. Okay. I honestly haven't seen that yet. Like, at least in, like, submissions, you know? And, yep, you have the GOAT at center. First off, I saw somebody on Twitter trying to say that Rudy Gobert is better than Dino Raja. Like I said, a lot of my team is subjective, but I'm a Dino stan. I can't co-sign that. I don't remember who was saying that. I think it was Shake and Bake saying that. I don't agree, but whatever. You know, my team's, like I said, subjective, man. Like, everyone has their own takes. If somebody really thinks Rudy Gobert is better than Dino, for them, they probably are, realistically. But for me, no. Dino's a GOAT. He's the best center in the game, in my opinion, for my play style and the way I play. But, yeah, I don't, obviously, I'm not going to tell you to get rid of Dino. I like Dino a lot. I like Yee a lot. I still think Dino is a better starting lineup center, at least for the starting lineup that you're running. Like, Dino makes more sense. That's just for his ability to play defense and clog up the middle and be a, secondary ball handler. He makes a lot more sense for the starting unit as opposed to the bench. Just because you have Oscar, Kobe, and Bonga that can all play essentially ball handling duties. Yee can too as well. But Dino has a little bit of an advantage in spacing the floor, which is why I think he makes more sense over in the starting lineup. But I could be wrong. It's just personal preference. Thurl Bailey's really good. I like Thurl Bailey. If you have him badged up, I don't think there's any reason to move him. Bonga, I don't know how I feel about Bonga at small forward. But like I said, if it works for you, then there's no reason to change it up. Now, one thing I would say is if you have the time, I think it might be a good idea to grind for Wally Szczerbiak, just because he's another 3-and-D guy that would help your team a lot. Maybe you can replace Rudy Fernandez with him. Rudy's only going for about 20 or 30K, so you're not making a crazy amount of profit there, but profit's profit. So, and especially grinding for a free card might be a good idea. You have 150K MT. You run Hawks 2018, 5-out, 3-hunt with Smush and Big O. And, yep, like you said, use your centers as secondary ball handlers. Okay. Yeah, you might like Rudy Fernandez for his speed and ball handling ability. So that's, like I said, the Wally thing, super subjective too. I don't think there's any reason to switch up any of your teams. The one thing I would say is Oscar's going for about 70K on Xbox right now. I don't know what he's going for on PlayStation. And Lonzo's probably going to be going for around the same price when the super packs come out. Objectively, Lonzo is just kind of a better player than Oscar. But if you really are wet with Oscar Robertson's jump shot, then I do not recommend switching it because I don't think the gap is too huge on that. I think objectively, just when it comes to badges and stats, like Lonzo is a little bit better, but if you play better with Oscar Robertson and like his jump shot and green on a consistent basis, there's no point in making that switch, if that makes sense. Thurl Bailey is probably the one person on this team that I would say, all right, maybe look into getting rid of him. Look, I love Thurl Bailey, but his time is kind of coming on him. I think Andre Karolinko has a little bit more staying power. They're kind of the same card. But I would just keep your team intact until we start Season 5, because I don't know, as of right now, without just crushing your MT for no reason, I don't really think there's too many tactical upgrades you could do. Yeah, there's personal preference ones, maybe implementing Glenn Rice in some way if you like to sharpshoot from deep or something of that nature, but I don't know how much that actually helps you in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I really don't. I don't think it necessarily really helps. So I would just stick with what the squad you got, and then we can kind of reconvene on the squad once Season 5 starts. Yeah, like I said, I just don't think there's much to really change as of right now. But yeah, like I said, I could definitely see this going a different way. All right, and last squad, my man Fiji God. All right, now I have the reason that I'm doing this squad, because it is kind of a God squad, is I do have legitimate actual tips for this one, not just me encouraging everyone to play with the best players that they, or the players they do the best with. All right, so we got Dwayne Wade, Michael Jordan. You know what? You guys are going to know this. I'm not a huge fan of this Michael Jordan card. I'm just not. I get it. It's like a meta card. He has Curry Slide and stuff like that. But the one problem I have is a lot of people reference Curry Slide, but then don't actually use Curry Slide. I do not use Curry Slide in game, which is why I don't typically hype the Curry Slide dribble animation if a card has it, because I just don't use it in game, at all. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a dribble god at all. So, all right. So, Kristaps. Okay. So, you need a bench point guard and a power forward. You're thinking about grabbing Jeremy Lin and Kenyon Martin. So right off the bat, you're saying that JR, you have JR, he's your favorite card. All right. Right off the bat, I say sell Jimmy Butler, run JR on the bench. If he's your favorite card and you're wet with him, yeah, definitely either sell Jimmy or Paul George. Obviously, Paul George is probably the one that I would sell first because he's going to be outdated sooner. Moving Jimmy over to small forward. That just netted you like 120 to 130K MT. I know you're already running with like 1.1 million, but still. Makes total sense. Yeah, like I said, if that's your favorite card, run JR. JR is more than usable. He's a good card. And if you're wet with that jump shot and you score with him, he's going to be more helpful to you than Paul George or Jimmy Butler will at that point. So, whichever one of those two cards you like less, I would get rid of one of them, stack that MT. So you're thinking about running Jeremy Lin and Kenyon Martin. I would say that if you're on next gen, Jeremy Lin is really like one of the best point guards in the game from what I understand. On current gen, he's not necessarily the best. I like Jeremy Lin a lot, but that's because I spent the entirety of 2K20 using Jeremy Lin in game. So I have a soft spot for Jeremy Lin. I like his release because it hasn't really changed much from last year. I'm a huge fan. I'm not going to tell you to get rid of Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony has a silky smooth release and is actually a really, really good card. Though there is some issues, but it really depends on your playstyle. So right off the bat, just looking at your team, I'm guessing it's hard to tell if you run rim or if you 3-point hunt or what's going on, just because you have such a good mix of playstyles with all the cards here. Which is fine. That's how a team should be, realistically. You don't want to have 10 guys that all do the same thing, because then defense is going to be a breeze for your opponent. So it's just kind of tough to make recommendations. Jeremy Lin's good, but I would say that he's about 200K, and I don't know if spending 200K on a point guard right now is the best idea. Just because we got Season 5 coming up, we got kind of a lack of point guards this year, at least in the Opal tier for sure, so I think we're going to get a lot more Opal point guards coming up in Season 5, so I think Jeremy Lin will be overshadowed pretty quickly. Like, I'm still going to keep him because I'm a huge Jeremy Lin fan in game, but yeah, Kenyon Martin at power forward, I would say absolutely do not do. Nothing wrong with it. He seems like a good card. Unless you're a huge Kenyon Martin fan, then by all means go for it, but I really do not think he's worth the price tag that he has. I know you have 1.1 mil, so it's not really that big of a deal to spend 300K on an Opal right now. I just don't think he's worth that 300K. I would just plug in, honestly, for now, I would just plug in Kevin Love, who you got for free in the locker code. Let me know in the comments if you do not have that locker code, and I'll type it in. But he's a free card you got in a locker code. He matches up pretty well with Porzingis. Like, that's a pretty solid shooting front court. You could just run him for 3 or 4 days until we get to Season 5 and we see what all the new content is. There's no point in spending 300K on Kenyon Martin, and then Friday, all of a sudden, we got another power forward coming out, and Kenyon Martin is A, significantly cheaper, and B, not appealing anymore, if that makes sense. Like I said, Jeremy Lin, 200K is pretty steep for somebody who I don't know is going to have very much longevity. So I don't know if necessarily grabbing him is the best play here. And like, I'm also going to be not going to tell you to grab Smush Parker, like, or Bonga at this point. Like, yeah, those guys can be very helpful for the right teams, but I'm sure you already have them. If you don't, Smush Parker's kind of expensive, though he is really good, but it really depends how you feel about Trey Burke base. Like, if you haven't had any of the Tmac cards at all this year, a good representation of how Smush Parker feels would be the Emerald Trey Burke that we got this season. I think that was this season, maybe last season. Either way, the Emerald reward Trey Burke. Like, he plays, at least the way he shoots is pretty similar to Trey Burke, so I would go to shoot around with him, see how you feel about that Trey Burke base coming off of point guard before you make that Smush Parker decision, because he is going for like 7 to 10K, which is pretty ridiculous. Though he is a pretty solid card. As far as Bonga goes, I know some people love Bonga, other people just cannot get used to him. He's not a universal demigod card by any means, so I don't know if he's really the best option as well. But really, it just comes down to what jump shots you like the best. Like, if you like a nice fast release and a nice solid, I don't know, quick point guard, like you can't really go wrong with like Steph Curry. If you like the Steph Curry release and the Curry slide, then obviously like Steph Curry is going to work the best for you. So I would grab him when the super packs come out, but like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Steph Curry at all. I don't really like Steph Curry. So the point guard position is pretty tough. Like if you are a huge Jeremy Lin fan and you were big on Jeremy Lin last year, then yeah, absolutely, by all means, go grab him. But if you weren't a fan of Jeremy Lin last year, do not waste $200K on Jeremy Lin because you're not going to like the card in any way, shape, or form. I think it might not be a terrible idea if you're a big Kyrie guy to go grab Pink Diamond Kyrie. He's still one of the best point guards in the game. Though, like I said, it's all personal preference. I would just think of what jump shots you like the best this year, especially when it comes to like earlier cards, and kind of go seek out a point guard that has that type of jump shot, especially if you're very point guard dominant. So I hope that helped at all, man. I just trying to encourage people not to shell out all of their MT 3 days before season 5 comes out. So sorry I can't be as helpful this time. So anyways, that's the video, guys. Sorry, this one's a little different than the last few weeks just because, like I said, new season's coming out in 3 days. I'm trying to keep people on track before they get rid of all their MT and then like some god tier card jumps through the gates on Friday, and there's some like new token rewards, new exchanges, etc. So, which by the way, check me out this week. I will be doing a preview video. I'll be live on Friday with a bunch of new videos, streaming, etc. Obviously, I have daily content all week this week. Try to do multiple videos a day, so check that out. Peep my description after the video. Check out all the stuff in there, and I'll be back as always. Peace.